Now on CoastTV News.
Bandstand barriers, a $1 million project aimed at increasing safety in Rehoboth Beach.
Permit to purchase, what you need to do starting next month if you want to buy a gun in the first state.
And the Russia-Ukraine war continues to rage on, how peace deals and missile deals are happening at the same time.
Another clear and chilly night in store for Delmarva with a weekend warm-up on the way, and then rain chances later Sunday into Monday. Details coming up.
This is CoastTV News at 5.
The Rehoboth Beach bandstand and cars driving around it.
Good evening. I'm Christina DeRobertis.
And I'm Charlie Sakaitis. We begin tonight with $1 million security upgrade in the nation's summer capital. The crowds at the beach have now died down, but city officials say they want to make the boardwalk and the bandstand safer. CoastTV News reporter Emma Aiken is live in Rehoboth Beach. Emma, this was up for discussion at the city's meeting today.
Charlie, here in Rehoboth Beach, you can see just how close the bandstand is to the road. And just a few minutes ago at their meeting, the city went ahead and authorized a contract to begin buying the materials that will be the barriers here and get this security program going. The Rehoboth Beach bandstand is home to a lot of events and concerts, and a lot of car traffic and foot traffic too. The city wants to make the space safer. They want to add 32 bollards on Rehoboth Avenue around the bandstand, and 35 of the same posts at the boardwalk. 2 swing gates to close off traffic during events are also in the city's plans. Irene Pidcock says barriers to limit driving around the circle are a good idea.
So at least during the summertime when they have all those concerts, gets very crowded in that area and not safe for pedestrians if you're not being careful and looking before you cross over.
The city says the price tag for the security program is $1.1 million. Charles LaPresto, who lives in Rehoboth, says maybe not.
My concern is it's a lot of money for something that, thank God, we haven't had a problem with thus far. So I would think no at this point unless I could see more evidence as to why we need them.
Life around the bandstand goes on as the city weighs next steps for safety. As far as the timeline of this project, now that the city went ahead and authorized that contract, they say the barriers will be up just in time for the summer season, with completion expected around mid-May. Reporting live here in Rehoboth Beach, Emma Aiken, Coast TV News.
Delaware's new permit to purchase law goes into effect next month, starting on November 16th. If you want to buy a handgun in the state, first you're going to need to go through a process where you'll need to take a firearm safety course with a certified instructor. You'll need to be fingerprinted and photographed, and you'll need to pass a background check.
Now, gun regulation advocates are excited by the change, but that's definitely not universal. Jeff Haig is the president of the Delaware State Sportsmen Association. That organization filed a lawsuit to try and stop this plan within hours of it being signed into law a year ago.
We're against them. We think it's not constitutional. We don't think it'll do any good. And all it does is infringe on the rights of law-abiding citizens to be able to exercise their constitutional right to keep and bear arms.
Earlier this year, the Supreme Court, the United States Supreme Court, declined to hear a challenge to Maryland's handgun purchaser law. So we know that these laws are not only effective, they're also constitutional.
Tracy Murphy with Coalition for a Safer Delaware claims that more than 70% of Americans support gun legislation similar to Delaware's permit to purchase law. All this brings us right into our Coast TV poll. We want to know, how do you feel about needing a permit to buy a handgun?
Let's take a look at the results here. Some mixed opinions. 39% say they support it, 59% oppose it. A few people have mixed feelings, or they're still deciding. If
you haven't voted yet, you can still do that at coasttv.com. You can also leave us a comment. You can also use our mobile app. Let's take a live look now into Ocean View as we get ready to check in with our first alert meteorologist, Bob Trihey. Bob, how's it going out there?
A gorgeous end to the work week for Delmarva. Lots of blue skies out there, but it was chilly this morning. We began in the 40s and only topping out in the low to mid 60s. Current temperatures now 62 in Georgetown, 63 in Millsboro, and pretty cool at the beaches as well. Bethany Beach to Rehoboth to Lewis, you're at 61, 62 in Delmar and Salisbury at 63. And it feels even cooler now with a northwesterly breeze. It's not too strong, but winds are around, say, 5 to 10 miles per hour, and they're gusting up to about 15 at Indian River Inlet, 10 at Rehoboth right now, and about 12 in Redden. But the good news is, as we head into the evening hours, those winds will start to relax as high pressure builds in. We're looking at mainly clear skies right now, but there are some mid to high level clouds now moving in from the eastern shore into Delmarva, so we'll call it mostly clear as we go into the evening hours, as we still have that northerly breeze, a pressure gradient between high pressure back to our west and a storm, an ocean storm, but eventually those winds will relax as we go into the evening hours. Here's Futurecast at 6. We're looking at temperatures in the lower 60s, and the winds will start to calm down, but with the lighter winds and clear skies, those temperatures will plummet. We're looking at mid 50s by about 9 p.m. around 53 in Seaford, 54 in Millsboro, Fenwick Island 57, and Dewey Beach 59. And by midnight, many inland areas close to 50 degrees and mid to upper 50s at the coast. And I think it will be another chilly night as temperatures start to dip into the 40s after midnight and probably lower 40s by tomorrow morning. So for this evening, clear skies, and those winds are pretty light or calm as we go deeper into the evening. Temperatures falling from the 60s and into the 40s. But good news for the weekend. We start to warm things up as we head into the weekend. Some rain chances later Sunday into Monday. More on that coming up a little bit later on.
Thank you, Bob. Heading to Millsboro, on your screen now is where the Delaware Department of Transportation says there will be road closures in order to reconstruct the roadway. Godwin School Road between Revel Road and Millsboro Highway will be closed starting October 27th, going through November 2nd. DelDOT says that detours are set to be in place.
Delaware State Police are investigating a deadly two-car crash in Georgetown. They say it happened around 6:15 last night. Police say a Honda crossed the center line on Lewis-Georgetown Highway, colliding with the front of an Audi. The driver of the Honda later died at the hospital. He's been identified as a 25-year-old from Laurel, Delaware, but their name is being withheld until the family is notified. Also, an 18-year-old from Hockessin was driving in the Audi. They had non-life-threatening injuries. Delaware State Police investigating why that Honda crossed the center line.
Scam alert. Always want to pay attention to these. The Delaware Division of Alcohol and Tobacco Enforcement alerting the public to a scam marijuana operation. University of Delaware students and people living in Newark have been targets. The date has seen a fake business, you've seen fake business cards imitating Fresh Delaware, a real marijuana business. Licensed recreational dispensaries are not to deliver marijuana. Companies doing so are operating illegally. Licensed dispensaries are only permitted to deliver medical marijuana to qualified patients.
30 years ago today, Maryland State Trooper Edward Plank Jr. was shot and killed during a traffic stop. Plank had pulled a vehicle over to issue a traffic citation. Trooper Dennis A. Lord arrived as backup when Plank grew suspicious about the driver. And as Plank approached the car, a second time he was shot. 400 grams of cocaine was ultimately discovered in that car, and Maryland State Police would like to take today to remember Plank Jr. and his contributions.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky returning to the White House today as President Trump continues trying to broker an end to the war between Ukraine and Russia.
President Trump says he will soon meet with Russia's president to move the peace process forward. Still unclear whether the U.S. will sell long-range Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine, which could help turn the war in its favor.
NBC's Gabe Gutierrez has more on why its move Russia strongly opposes.
Trying to end the war in Ukraine, which has now raged for more than 3 years. Today, President Trump greeted Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky at the White House for the third time this term.
I think President Zelensky wants it done, and I think President Putin wants it done. Now all they have to do is get along a little bit.
The Ukrainian leader saying he's asking for weapons, including Tomahawk missiles.
to have really strong security guarantees. NATO is the best, but weapon is very important.
President Trump potentially open to a trade.
And they make a very good drone.
If the U.S. were to provide the long-range missiles, they'd go to NATO, which would then deliver them to Ukraine. Zelensky's push for missiles comes as Ukraine and Russia traded attacks, including this one overnight. Ukraine saying it hit an oil depot and fuel warehouse in Russian-occupied Crimea. Still, Zelensky striking an optimistic tone about a diplomatic resolution.
We understand that Putin is not ready. I think not ready, but I think that I'm confident that with your help, we can stop this war.
Today's meeting comes after President Trump spoke by phone to Russian President Vladimir Putin for more than 2 hours.
I had a very productive talk yesterday with President Putin. We'll see what happens.
And set up a meeting in Budapest, Hungary in the coming weeks.
Trump and Putin, of course, last met in August in Alaska. A source familiar with the meeting now tells NBC News that President Trump raised his voice several times at the Russian leader and threatened to walk out of the summit when Putin rejected a ceasefire offer. Gabe Gutierrez, NBC News, Washington.
According to a source familiar with the matter, Senate Republican leaders could take up a bill as soon as next week to pay federal workers affected by the shutdown. Republicans have held off on voting to pay workers, saying Democrats needed to vote to reopen the government first. 60 votes are needed for it to advance, which requires bipartisan support. Senate Majority Leader John Thune took steps on Wednesday to put the bill on the floor, and other GOP leaders may introduce a bill to pay members of the military.
Coming up, recent job market trends showing that the U.S. workforce may be becoming less of a force.
Here's a live look into Laurel on the Tyndall's Casual Furniture Cam. Beautiful blue skies, 62 degrees, but temperatures dropping pretty quickly through the 50s this evening. But a weekend warm-up on the way and some rain chances later Sunday into Monday. More on that coming up a little bit later in the newscast.
But first, we have cute, creepy, and cool things to do this weekend, and you don't even have to leave the coast to find them. We'll tell you about it next. Well, Delmarva has a lot of range this weekend. Like we said, cute, creepy, and cool things to do. But we'll start with cute because the Brandywine Valley SPCA is hosting Bark on the Board Saturday morning in Rehoboth Beach. It's a super fun event. There's a dog diving competition, also a costume contest, and plenty of adoptable pets. Is going to be taken over by zombies on Saturday night. It's Milton Zombie Fest. This year's theme is Apocalypse. There's freak shows, food trucks, and plus Charlie Sakaitis and Madeline Overturf are going to be there judging zombie costumes. Or you can head to Houston on either weekend day or both days for the Delmarva Folk Fest. It's a musical event, but there's also going to be crafting and family-friendly activities. Southern Delaware Therapeutic Riding is having their 9th annual barn dance on Saturday. It's a fundraiser with barbecue, dancing, and more, and proceeds benefit equine-assisted therapy programs. Also, Camp Rehoboth's block party is back on Sunday from 11 to 4. There's going to be dozens of vendors on the second block of Baltimore Avenue with performances and art. Entrance is free, but donations are encouraged. And you can find all the details, tickets, everything you need. Just go to CoastTV.com and click on Cool Things to Do.
It was a beautiful end to the work week for Delmarva. Wall-to-wall sunshine, but still on the cool side with a chilly breeze as well. Here's a live look into Lewis on the Irish Ice Camp. 62 right now, still a northerly breeze, and temperatures will fall off pretty quickly this evening through the 50s, and I think many inland spots down into the 40s tonight, well down into the 40s. But today's highs, not too bad, but still about 5 to 6 degrees below average. 62 in Georgetown, Cambridge, and Easton at 63. Ocean City 63, with Wallops Island at 63 as well. And Friday Night Lights, yeah, it's football, and make sure you have the Jacket, the hoodie, the blanket, the whole deal, because it's going to be chilly. 56 at kickoff, and then around halftime, around 50 degrees. At least the winds will start to slacken off. Here's our Tyndall's Casual Furniture Camp. You can see some clouds floating in from the north right now. Otherwise, this evening, mainly clear. Quickly falling temperatures, however, from the 50s into the 40s. And the weekend, pretty nice, staying dry, and Sunday is looking warmer. And the rain holds off, I think, until probably Sunday night and early Monday. Temperatures now lower 60, 63 in Salisbury, 60 in Milton, Lewis, Rehoboth, and Indian River Inlet all at 61, as we still have that persistent northwest breeze, not too strong, around 4 to 8 miles per hour, but it is gusting to 12 at Indian River Inlet and Millsboro, and those winds will continue to relax as high pressure builds in. And we are seeing some high clouds, mid to high level clouds floating in from the north, but it's still going to be chilly as we do have that northerly flow between high pressure back to the west, and we have a pretty strong ocean storm as well. But as that high gets closer, those winds will relax, and we have some clouds back to the west. Those will move in tomorrow. We are tracking a cold front across the nation's midsection right now. Not a lot of rain with it, but I think it will start to gather some strength, and I think later Sunday into Monday, that's when we have a chance of seeing some heavier showers. But this evening, clear skies are mainly clear. Temperatures falling through the 50s, and then later this evening down near 50 inland, and pretty chilly to start your Saturday, at least mid to upper 40s inland. I think some lower 40s well inland with 50s at the coast. Clouds increase on your Saturday, but it's still going to warm up mid to upper 60s by noon. By mid-afternoon, I think we're looking at lower 70s as a wind shift to the south. And then into Sunday morning, not as chilly with temperatures in the 50s and 60s. Then the winds pick up out of the south and it gets mild by Sunday afternoon, mid to upper 70s. That'll be nice. And then 60s and 70s at the beaches as those winds will start to go calm, I think, as we go into early Saturday. Wind shift to the south later Saturday, and they pick up on Sunday, gusting close to 30 into the afternoon hours. And those rain chances do start to pick up with time Sunday night into Monday, and then again into Tuesday, as we're tracking maybe some heavier rain, gusty winds very early Monday, and then it dries out Tuesday, and then the next system brings another shot of rain on Wednesday. 42 tonight, clear skies and chilly. 68 tomorrow, not as cool, and Paul Davis 7-day forecast, 75 Sunday, and then showers Sunday night into early Monday, maybe some gusty winds, 65 Monday, 70 Tuesday, and then maybe another shower chance by Wednesday. Congratulations to Mary Devine from Milton on winning a brand new umbrella from Paul Davis and Coast TV.
Maryland State Police have arrested 29-year-old Alexander Crum after multiple child pornography-related charges. State Police say Crum knowingly permitted the sexual solicitation of a minor. Crum was arrested at his job by the FBI and U.S. Marshals Service. MSP says the arrest came after a cyber tip line report involving financial transactions came through. State police say this investigation is still ongoing. The latest U.S. job market trends show women are leaving the labor force at some of the highest levels in history. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics data, almost 455,000 women left the workforce from January to August this year, the most since the pandemic. Highly educated mothers and black women are leading the exodus. The main factor, rising costs of childcare and early education. Economists say if the trend continues, it could erase historic gains made by women in recent years and risk stifling U.S. economic growth.
Coming up tonight on DSN at 5:30, tune in for Down and Distance, and at 6 for Scoops and Scores. Also your game of the night at 6:30 p.m. Sussex Central takes on Cape Henlopen in football. Then at 10, watch Into the Trenches. At 10:30, Nittany Game Week, and at 11 p.m. catch the final score. Along with that Snow Hill game of the night, here's your DSN Plus exclusives. At 6 p.m., Stephen Decatur travels to Easton in football. Also in football at 6 p.m., North Carolina hosting Parkside. At 7 p.m., Milford hosts Lake Forest in football. And at 7 p.m., Polytech hosts DMA in football. And get ready for another week in the NFL regular season. We have your Sunday night football right here on Coast TV. This week you can catch the Atlanta Falcons and the San Francisco 49ers. Coverage begins at 7, and stay right here for Coast TV News following the game. We've got more news coming up for you on Coast TV News at 5. We'll be right back. Salisbury police have arrested Demetrius Huggins, the man they say tried to rob a Mr. Tire on South Salisbury Boulevard. A Mr. Tire employee reported that Huggins grabbed their arm and then demanded money from the register. And when the employee refused, Huggins then fled while making threats. Salisbury police located Huggins shortly after and arrested him. Coast TV News at 5 will be right back.
Warming up into the weekend, 68 Saturday, 75 Sunday, maybe some rain later Sunday into early Monday.
Not half bad for all the things going on this weekend.
Looking good.
We love it. Well, thanks so much for joining us for Coast TV News at 5.
For more news, more local weather, download our Coast TV News app.
Inside Edition is next.
And we'll see you later tonight for Coast TV News at 6. Have a great evening.